Hello Year 5 and welcome to this week's wider curriculum video, which we are looking at geography. As you know, we've been looking at geography all term, and this is the key information that you should really be studying, looking at, adding to when you get a chance. Our key questions are about what is a globe, what is an atlas, what are longitude and latitude, what a tropical rainforest is and where they're located and why they're important and what are they like. And as you know, we've been looking at these quite closely over the last few weeks. When we plan our lessons, we plan them around the national curriculum, which is something the government says that you need to learn whilst you're in primary school. And the national curriculum statements are just on the top there, on the slide there, so you can read them through and pause and read them through if you like. But if you look through them, you'll notice a lot of what we've been covering this term is clearly there. So we've used maps, we've found the equator and the tropics, we're using some really good basic geographical vocabulary, and I know we went through some vocabulary in the last video. We've looked at physical characteristics of places in hills, mountains, coasts, rivers, forests, and we're now working on land use patterns and how those things have changed over time. We've looked at climate zones, biomes, vegetation belts, rivers, the water cycle, and we've looked at significant places such as Sumatra and the Indonesian rainforests. We're now moving on to look at rainforests in more detail, and rainforest is woodland typically found in tropical areas with an annual rainfall of at least 100 inches or 254 centimetres. So as you know, they are very damp and very wet. They are found between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, which, if you remember early on, we actually drew on our maps to show exactly where they were, and we found that. These spaces cover 7% of the Earth's surface, but more than half of the plants and animal species in the world are actually found in the tropical rainforest. So they are really, really biodiverse, and that's why they're so important. They have a rich biodiversity, large leaves, huge canopies, etc. And we've looked at that before, but that's what we're studying this term. Now, rainforests have 4 layers. We did cover this in a lesson, so this should just be a bit of revision for you. The emergent layer, the canopy, the understory, and the forest floor. Perhaps when you're producing your information text in English, you can look at that and use that diagram or include this as one of the paragraphs, often called the lungs of their planet, for their role in absorbing carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases and producing oxygen, which is obviously what we all need to breathe. Rainforests are home to 30 million species of plants and animals, 2/3 of the plants of the world's plant species, and they produce several major sources of foods and medicines made from ingredients of the rainforest. My personal favourite is obviously the cocoa bean, which produces chocolate, and I would find it difficult to live without that. There are about 50 million tribal people living in the rainforests, and the floors of the rainforest are obviously in perpetual darkness. If you remember the stat about the rain, if it rains in the rainforest, if you're on the forest floor, it may take 10 minutes before you even find out because the canopies hold the water. So the rainforests we've been looking at are in Indonesia, and Indonesia is obviously globally important, covers 98 million hectares, one of the 5 most species-rich countries in the world, 12% of all mammals, 16% of reptiles and amphibians, 17% of birds are found in Indonesia, which is obviously spread out over 17,000 islands. Obviously, the rainforests in Borneo and Sumatra are the only places on Earth where there's tigers, rhinos, orangutans, and elephants. They're home to monkeys, sun bears, clouded leopards, flying foxbacks, Komodo dragons, black macaques, so many animals. And I know we're looking at those in our projects, and you're working in project teams to provide us with lots of information on those, as well as obviously through our top trumps cards that we're making. Now, the vast wealth of these natural resources has led to large-scale industrial action, international industrial action focused on getting the hardwoods out. The hardwoods are really useful. The minerals, palm oil, rubber. which obviously is not a good thing, as we've seen. There's also an illegal wildlife trade, poaching, and with the number of roads and logging trails being built into the forests, that's actually making the situation worse, because now the criminals can actually get in and get to them. So that's what we're covering this term. We've covered a lot of it already. I hope you enjoy this video. Remember, you need to do some research on your particular animal so that we can use it, as well as research on the rainforests in general, because you'll be needing that for your information text in English. Have a good time. Goodbye.